Good evening. Welcome to another cast of VRML Breachers. However, this weekend's going to be a little bit differently. This is going to be the CC's finals coming in today. It's going to be against, of course, Empire versus Zero. My name is Martini. I have Old Gravy in a casting booth with me, and of course, Shimi Marui. How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing pretty dandy. Excited to get into this CC finals. How are you doing, Shimi?
Doing pretty dang good. I mean, yesterday was a blast to watch, and we're getting to see it all come together for the finals today. It was a lot of insane matches, a lot of crazy moments, and last-minute, overtime round craziness. It's going to be a good time. I can't wait to see how this entire thing ends out.
Yeah, I was able to luckily hop in, see what was going on, and I saw some great action coming in from a lot of these teams. You know, in the end, Empire and Zero ended up being the two teams that did duke it out and won at least that portion of the tournament. But again, that's not everything. They still have to finish out this finals, and one of these two teams will be the lucky one to go on and be the top 8 playing in the playoffs in the next 2 weekends. And, you know, as we always say, it's hard. It's hard being the 8th spot because you have to go through a whole weekend, you know, of CCs, fight your way all the way up there just to go in to the next upcoming weekend. And your game is not over. If anything, I think you go against a first seed, which will definitely be one of the hardest things here. And let me double check that. I'm pretty sure that's Acer here. So that's going to be definitely a fun stand here. Let's check out the standings here. So the top 7 obviously already qualify into the the closed qualifiers automatically. It's everyone fighting for this 8th spot here. So definitely going to be an exciting thing to see happen here. Before, you know, we go any further, I want to give a quick shout out to, of course, my favorite and personal favorite sponsor, Triangle Factory, for providing us with the game we love, and of course for supporting season 4 of VRML, and of course HyperX for offering some great products like the high quality HyperX Quadcast S, and also great peripherals for computers. And last but not least, if you've not been paying attention, don't forget VRMLCon 2025 has been confirmed for Phoenix, Arizona. So if you'd like to meet all of us in person, join any of the tournaments, head online to the VRMLCon website and make sure to grab your tickets. And hopefully we can see y'all in Phoenix, Arizona. And maybe one of these teams will end up going to Phoenix, Arizona and playing up. But we'll have to see, as that probably will be I think it's only the top 2, I believe, going in from Breacher's side. So that'll definitely be exciting to see what's going on here. But I mean, Shimi, can you give us a rough outlook on what happened yesterday? What were some of the top things that you've seen? Have you seen Empire and Zero perform any specific way yesterday?
Yeah, we caught a bit of Empire yesterday. We actually we ended up watching their only loss. A Basils performed extremely well against them. It had probably just an off game for Empire. However, A Basils did play extremely well. That being said, with 0-0 ran circles around just about everybody yesterday. Extremely aggressive plays, extremely solid gunplay, and they ended up losing to Empire on that very last round. Unfortunately, we did not spectate the match. There was another one that we thought would be better to watch, but it looks like we are about to head in.
Yeah, we're hopping right into the action. These teams are definitely a little impatient right now. I definitely said let's go on in 30 seconds, but hey, they said let's send it now because we want to just get started and really duke this one out here. But again, we're gonna be having Empire and Jaden playing it out on, honestly, a very unexpected map to be playing here. Skyscraper. Did y'all expect to see Skyscraper pop out in these finals here?
I mean, we saw Maul yesterday, so I mean, nothing can be too unexpected, right? Maul was kind of an interesting one to see be played. I think it was played like twice or just once?
It was played like 3 times. It was played quite a few different times. We spectated it twice yesterday, but Skyscraper was not what I was expecting to be the first pick for today. Interesting choice.
Yeah, these teams are deciding to mix things up, and I like that. I love seeing Skyscraper never gets chosen. It's one of my personal favorite ones, maybe because I just have love for it from all the way from season 0, seeing Skyscraper kind of being that trump card, because to me it was always what team ever focused a little bit more longer on how to play Skyscraper. And the coolest thing to see develop was seeing some of these teams dominate, honestly, on the attacking side and showcasing that, hey, while it's a very defensive-oriented map, you can still make some action happen on the attacking side.
Looks like they're going to be doing a little bit of a split push on this bathroom area, as most teams typically do. They typically try to pinch it from that balcony area windows and the center courtyard. But it looks like they have a very strong defensive hold as they're holding that hallway and holding in that corner. Doesn't get the one. almost getting to, but Iconic was right there in that hallway to go ahead and catch that refrag, and also a trip mine kill on the Mitchie. Very early to go ahead and get a trip mine kill so early in the round is really going to make this a very uneven fight for the Zero squad. There's only 2 of them left. They know where they're all going to be coming in from as well, as they're just going to be pushing them back with more util and really regrouping.
Definitely a rough start right now for the Zero players. Already down to 3 players, about a little bit halfway into the round. But also on top of that, EMP is off of their hands. They got to retake this side in order to make something happen here, or go for those picks. But I mean, this bathroom is basically hunkered down. Juice trying to go in for a peek here. So looks like Riot on the corner, picking up the pick there over there, and now comes down to just Owen checking out the corner. And they do somehow get the pick to the corner, but that is going to be the end of the round for them there. And that's going to be a rough start, honestly, for the Zero players.
The Incinerator grenade just barely touched his pinky toe right there. This is the last bit of HP he needed to take him out.
That's a really unfortunate circumstance for Zero to have to deal with. That they had just really good control of the hallways. They had really good control over the bathroom. The entry was just too difficult between the amount of people that were ready to refrag each other from Empire on top of the util placements. The man advantage just got taken so quickly and so decisively by Empire early in the round, and it's hard to recover that 2v5. I mean, Empire put in the work to try and do it. Owen did get a couple, but not enough to make that matter in the end.
Honestly, nothing adds more salt in the wound like a trip mine kill. I mean, what can you do about that, right? You're already suffering in the round, getting a random trip mine kill on top of that, just gonna really hurt the team and really the morale. But again, this is only round 1. This is gonna be a best of 3 for this weekend. So it's gonna be a little different than the CCs, right? They still have a full match to play out, and even if things don't work out for Zero here, they can always come back in the later rounds. But again, it's only the pistol round.
This round, it can be pretty important coming into the second map as well, or not the map, second round, as your economy really means you're going to be able to purchase more items, better guns, more util. But really, yeah, I mean, as long as you play your cards right and get the picks that you need, especially on those high-value guns, that's an extra gun in your advantage, which have electronics right here on this window. If you see this Martini, you've got 2 Zero players on either side of that window, and the one window that they have not broken out yet is where electronics is. Could it be very bad or very good? I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, Zero's playing very slow. We see kind of the split push again from the rooftop here and the bottom staircase there. Oh, and Rising got off on Jaden, and of course, followed by the iconic one. But now it comes down to just Michi. I'm wondering if Electronics is going to be very aggressive and go in for the jump or just really play time here. But Owen and Juice finally coming up the staircase here, but this is still rough. Down 2 players, a whole another extra player down. And it's going to be kind of tough right now for the Zero players. But not impossible. But I'm a little worried about them, right?
Yeah, very good util placement and really setting up their defense as well. Being able to play really close to each other and playing off each other and really giving out those callouts of is really, really helping out this Empire team. And that nade just threw right there, gave him the picks, let them know that Owen is in there, and being able to get him down to low HP as well. There's not a whole lot of that they could really do here in the situation. It's a 2v4. They don't have gun advantage. They're also split up, and you know, I think Iconic might even capitalize on this right now. Goes ahead and takes out Owen, and now Mitchie's shooting. They all know where he's at. So all 4 of them are all pinched up right here. You got to throw some util on to Mitchie, burn him up a lot. It's going to be looking very tough right here. I mean, do you save the Spectral and the $200 for the foam? I mean, might as well. I got 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I think Michi might have honestly taken a little bit too long in that round, right? We saw them hold on to that window for such a long time there, and I was hoping maybe some action or some kind of pinching action would have happened with the other player, but Owen obviously got picked up on that staircase, or yeah, it was Owen. Got picked up on a staircase there, so it's just unfortunate for them there. And you're right, it's the Spectral, it's Breach. I mean, what can you really do in terms of saving here? There's 10 seconds left in the round. I think at this point, maybe go in for a pick and just kind of hope for the best.
Maybe you might be able to get one right here, but nope, Dopey on the long angle is able to go ahead and take out that last pick. What do you think about that round, Jimmy?
They're right now having a lot of problems entering the building. Unfortunately for Zero, Empire is just having a very solid control over their entry points. I mean, even if they had entered the windows, Electronics was right there ready to take them out. The luck that was the one window that nobody broke, and he got to sit behind that for a while. Pretty crazy stuff. But right now, just Empire is keeping control. They're keeping good locks and good good angles on all of these entry points, denying Zero the chance to really solidify a hold into the building itself, let alone the site. We haven't seen them even get close to the site yet.
You're right. I've been noticing that. They've been basically shut down off-site for the most part, or barely entering into the map. And that's kind of difficult. I've always thought, like, if you can't even enter the map, how are you going to develop any attacking plays here? You're going to be shut down basically before you can even get anything started. And we're going to be seeing a similar site here, I believe, we had seen on round 1. So hopefully Zero does something different this time around. Otherwise, it's probably not going to work out, as it quite didn't work out last time here. But drone coming out here, all ready from Zero. Getting some good intel here, but it looks like Aquino already with some great shots in. Knocking out the drone so early. Very little intel coming out from the Zero side. Hopefully, see something here. But Electronics, again, playing aggressive on his window. Oh, they got the 2K in the end there, and that's a beautiful play.
Did not get too much action the first round in that window, so they didn't, you could play there again, essentially. They would not know he was there, but that was it on that defense. Now they're all taking space. They blow up the hatch. They're going to grab the other hatch as well. It's a 3v3, and they technically don't have gun advantage. I mean, they do have a Vezin on the Empire squad, but the way that this team is moving, they are actually taking some space and moving a little bit quicker with some urgency this time. Let's see if they're able to go ahead and make some movement into sight a little bit, but Rias is really holding it down. Does get taken out by Splunge, though, with the Omen, and that was their Vezin. Let's see if they can go ahead and recover that Vezin before the Zero team does. Looks like they're all still going to be playing upstairs, though, in the hatch, which... you know how Martini feels about hatch drops. Let's see what this team is.
Look,
they're going to rotate back down, or
if they clear out the site, then you see something happen. And look here, already getting shut down by Dopey there. Now only left 2 versus 2, and on top of that, Jaden and Michi get picked up, and that's why I hate jump hatches, because it's such a easy thing to read.
It's very hard. You don't know what you're going to be dropping into. Like, you drop, you're going to have to look at like 3 or 4 different spots and angles to hopefully, they're not already holding. And it's just getting thrown in there with a towel over your head. It's so difficult.
That was too risky of a hatch drop. They did manage to finally get some ground in and get into a site. They needed to have a little bit. I think you called it out. They needed to have a little bit more aggression, which they displayed, and actually forced their way in. Getting those 2 picks up at the top, sure, they lost 2 men, but they managed to get that 3-2 advantage, especially taking out the Vezin, but they threw it all away with that not smartest hatch drop. Unfortunately, that hatch into A, you are just dropping, like you said, into so many angles. It's really hard to predict, and you're basically in a fishbowl. Like, it's not the smartest idea unless you have a huge amount of util to back you up, or you have 5 people dropping that thing.
Should really only have like 1 person on it, and just to throw util from the hatch, maybe some flashes or something, or maybe the
or like a drone follow-up, or like frags in the corner or something, right? Utility is the only way that kind of equalizes, I think, any drop hatch. Otherwise, it's a shooting gallery. It ends up being a shooting gallery for the defending team there.
Free pickings, and as we're heading into this 4th round, hopefully they don't get too many more rounds. Or hopefully they start getting some rounds, because they're already down 3-0, and we haven't even switched sides yet. So we really have to see Zero go ahead and turn the switch on, as we're seeing right now. Splunge already getting Electronics very early pick. They do have gun advantages, or not gun advantage necessarily, but they have better guns. And as we're seeing, coming out from Aikido onto Owen, they're going to throw some more util, really stopping this push. All right, Jaden finally taking some space, blowing up the wall, and taking out a very early pick on the Rias. Now they're going to go ahead and take some more space. Just stop it. Gets 1, gets 3 fragged by Jaden. It is left in a 2v3 situation. Zero's looking very good right now. If they can go ahead and... oh, it does get taken out by the Ensign. The Ensign's with the chip barely just touching those toes. It's all it needs.
Yeah, coming down.
Very unfortunate timing.
Coming down to just the juice and the Jaded at this point, but I don't think they're aware. Akito went in for the switch up, and it looks like the iconic one got the pick up on the end there. Now it's coming down to just Akito and Juice, and that is not going to be working out for them in the end here. Empire, I'm not going to lie, if Zero were to win a round, I think that would have been it.
That was an extremely
really good with their flanks. Aquino with the pinch in the back, very well executed.
Yeah, right now Empire is just keeping very, very solid holds on the map. They see any sort of space given up, they retake it, and they make it so that every single angle is a danger to Zero. Unfortunately for them, unfortunately, just some of those picks did not work out, did not get followed up on with Zero. They did get some solid ground in, just little bit of flubs at the very end. Like Michi dying to that incendiary really hurt them. They had that 3-2 advantage, and it got squandered to a 2-2. The slow creep up onto, I think it was Iconic one, didn't quite work out how they needed it to. Just little small things that didn't work out in Zero's favor and costed them that entire round. Otherwise, it was going very well for them.
Is there any pattern you think that's developing from the Zero side? They have not been able to get, I think, a really solid round, and that was probably the best round we had seen, and they still weren't able to make it work out.
I've been noticing a lot of good util placement coming out from Empire, just slowing down their pushes. Like Zero is like takes a bunch of space and gets some momentum going, and then it just stops so suddenly from all the util placement that just happens to land perfectly on their feet. Like I said, it's a couple of instant kills already. I mean, there was already 2 in this match. And it doesn't necessarily have to do all the damage in the world, but if they're already low and barely tickles them, it's enough to get a pick. And right now, Electronics is just stopping this entire team by himself, getting 2, 3, just by himself, just stopping the whole push. It is a 5v1. Can he get the last one?
Oh
he does. 4K from Electronics. Flawless.
They are just
Almost a complete ace if Dopey did not go ahead and get one of those picks, but that was just a complete momentum stopper. I don't think they were just expecting that. I think Nitronics just got the pick on them and just like stood up, and he was playing that box so well, just moving around like a little worm, just going back and forth on that box and just getting one after the other. What do you think about that, Shibby? What would have gone better?
That I don't think there was anything else they could do. They just they sheerly lost on skill in that one. Lightronics it generally outplayed them. They extremely well done from Lightronics. But like you said, they're running into things that are just completely halting their momentum out of nowhere. They're not expecting certain things. They're not being careful. They're not being careful enough. They're not watching for certain things that they need to. They're sitting in areas where util can easily displace them, stop them, or kill them. They're running into things like Lightronics just sitting on a box that are just completely wiping them. I don't know where this exact disconnect is, but there's just little things that are ruining their day. Just like Iconic one, taking a beautiful pick into the courtyard.
Yeah, long shot coming out from Iconic one there in the bathroom. Probably unexpected, I think, to the Zero squad. And at this point, I mean, if Empire secures one more round win, I think it might be over for Zero here, Grady, because coming back from the 6-0 is going to be very difficult, especially the performance we've seen from the Empire players.
Like Bob said, Skyscraper is a very defensive-sided map. We can see, I don't know, a 6-0 curse might be a little hard to come back from, but, it's been done in the past. Don't count them out too early. They got another map after this result to bounce back from. Hopefully the teams have actually been warming up before this as well, and this isn't just our warm-up. You never know. Some people might have some.
Yeah, it looks like Smoke coming out there to really block any of those down. Here, but just on the corner here in that breach. Can they get a pick off potentially as Michi coming in for their own push himself? He gets the pick off, and Riot gets the refrag there, but that's not a juice in that pick in the hallway here. Jada going for the swing, but they take out Riot. This might be a lot closer than I thought. Never mind, Akino knocking out Owen, coming out to just Jaded in a 1v2 situation here.
Low HP as well. Akino was able to go ahead and sniff out that last player, and it is a 6-0 going into the next half. They have to get one round on offense.
God, they were doing better up until they get to the doors or the hatches of sights, and then they're just getting shut down by random things. Lightronics especially just being a pain in their butts right now. He has stopped their pushes, taken out multiple picks, and for instance, that single time we almost saw an ace from him. He's really shining today, and Zero is really struggling to find any way to deal with Empire. But they're on that defensive half now. It is a 6-0 lockout, so their backs are against the wall for the first map. They really need to figure something out if they don't want to have to make up all the points on the next 2 maps.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Empire does. Are they going to lock this down as 7-0 on a pistol round, or Zero could potentially can have some something to say about this. You know, we say this time and time again. It's still Skyscraper. It's still a defensive-sided map. Is it impossible for Zero to get back with a 6-0? No. Is it going to be hard that they don't have one round where they mess up? Honestly, yeah. Because even a 5-1, I feel like on a Skyscraper, you can kind of make something happen there. And I'm kind of worried to see what the Zero players can do here. But I'm excited to see if they can prove us wrong.
Just also be thinking a little bit of like how the mental is playing a little bit of a factor into this match too, right? After getting 6 rounds, your team must be feeling pretty good. I know I'd be feeling great, right? Going into this next half, like, all right, if we lose a couple rounds, it won't be the end of the world. We could always recover, and you know, just we only need 1 round. And they're already getting a very early pick as well on their roam on Mitchie. So now their whole team is still up. Yes, they have a little bit of low HP. However, they are taking this space upstairs and grabbing the hatch. Now let's see if they are smart enough. Drop the hatch. Oh, okay. No, their whole team dropping. Oh, getting free. Free with the instant. Oh, no. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really did.
Huh.
You know,
what did I say about a jump hatch? What did I say about a jump hatch? And you know what's funny? That is one of the few jump hatches I do support. And even then, you still get shut down.
You know, maybe if it's like backed up with people on the window, right? Watching that doorway of the flank or something. Or if they pre-throw util into connector or something. But they just went for it. And now Dopey's about to go ahead and get snuck up right now. Oh no. Sponge is about to lose it. Sponge lost it. Oh no! How do you?
I don't know if you noticed. I had it on camera. They might have been a little too cocky there. Sponge went for the one-handed, try to kill them with the Spectral on the other. And I hope that doesn't cost them this round, because it's still 2v1, so it's not impossible for Zero to make something happen here. But this might be going the way of Zero because of that small mistake.
I just hit the Bob emote after that. That was crazy. Yeah, if they get one because of that. I don't think he's gonna.
Wait, that was a defender. I'm sorry, that was a defender. It doesn't matter. They probably knew it was a 3v1. Who cares?
But still, okay. They did get their win, and now it's a 6-1. So let's maybe not drop any.
I mean, how do we feel about that hatch team? I'm gonna hold the replay. I got a replay on that hatch play, and it's definitely a doozy.
I mean, the buff on the instant that happened a little while ago is definitely showing its worth on that one. 3 people dead to a single incendiary grenade. That is insane. I don't think I've seen an Incin kill that many people at once. But that is the risk of a hatch drop. I mean, back when the Incin was a lot more nerfed, yeah, it wasn't quite as useful to stop a hatch drop like that. But all the util that they had ready, expecting that. For instance, we had another person run into a trip mine that was set up for that hatch drop. It was not going to work. It was not going to happen, not with the way that Zero had set that up. Risky move, unfortunately no reward.
Yeah, that's gonna give Zero their first round win. So you know, it's not a total washout for them. It's not a perfect win for the Empire players. But again, this is a uphill battle. Zero basically is fighting to get to 6 rounds and hopefully go into an overtime win there. But that is to say that they do win. What if they go to overtime and they still lose that? So it's definitely gonna be challenging for the Zero players. They're gonna be basically on the defensive the whole game, hoping that nothing goes wrong for them.
Exactly. They're going to have to be spending their money every single round. All of it. Because, you know, they lose 1 round, it's game over. So it's really going to put them at a very tricky eco situation. Because, you know, if they lose, it's game over. But it's even if they win, right, they may not be able to afford a Vezin. Someone died, right? Because they just spent all their money on a Euro, for example.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I mean, you're right. It's hard to make those kind of economy decisions. You can't always make the best economy decisions when you're basically on final match every match. The follow-up, and that's a 4K coming out there from the Zero players. And that's a shutdown if I've seen one there. And we'll see if we can see Riot make anything happen here. But off of 4 health, I'm not really hopeful for them.
Jewish and Mitchie just played that wall so good together, the way they just pinched that. And S-Tier 8 coming out.
Oh.
Stick out. Riot, he was so low on HP, so just barely had to tickle him. He looked at it too. He looked at it.
He looked at that thing and just resigned to his fate. He was just like, I know it's going. I know it's gonna happen. There's nothing I can do about it.
He can't run out. He's gonna get shot. You know, so it's like that or the nade.
Right, you only have 2 options right now, and you're both dead anyway, so does it really matter?
The way he looked over was just comedic and beautiful, though. Just what a goofy round. But it looks like Zero is giving Empire a taste of their own medicine. We are seeing them pull the same stuff. They're pulling counter runouts when they blow walls. They're pulling unexpected swings to reduce those numbers as quickly as they can. They might be able to force their own lockout, and we may see not a single offensive round won. That would be very interesting. Not the first time I've seen it on Skyscraper.
So Shimi, you're saying we're going to overtime right now? You're saying right?
I'm not saying
you're betting
that
right now
we're
going to overtime?
We might. No, I did not pull out my wallet yet, so no.
You heard that? Shimi says $5 in the chat if we go to overtime, and I'm gonna hold him to that. So we'll see what happens.
$5 to everybody in the chat.
$5 to everybody in the chat from Shimi Marui. If you don't get the $5, DM a Shimi and say, hey, you owe me $5. Zero, just went to overtime.
Let's make it interesting. I'll buy Old Gravy's next skin.
Okay.
If it goes to a 6, or if it does not go to 6-6.
Okay, I want the bundle. I want the big bundle.
If it doesn't go to 6-6, you
I made a
then
mistake.
Gravy has to buy you something.
He has to buy me a skin.
How about this? You buy a skin for everyone in chat if it goes to 6-6. If
Heck no.
It doesn't,
Heck
then
no.
they all buy you a skin.
Heck no.
Ooh, that could be a lot.
That's a lot. There's how many you are in chat
You
right
got the whole
now?
inventory.
That is 85 people watching right now. Everyone has to buy Shimi a skin if this doesn't go to overtime.
We gotta get back to the game, dude.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. Anyway, Jewish Potato getting knocked out there, coming down to Electronic, see if they can follow up with that pick there, but it doesn't quite work for that swing. I don't know why I did not think about the word correctly. Anyways.
I just realized I think they did a sub. Was it Owen for Jewish Potato? I think Owen's not in here anymore. I think maybe he was on the team. But Juice just went ahead and got a pick up to Electronic, throwing Mutual out as well, just stopping their push and rotating back. It's always a smart move. Don't want to stay in the same spot after getting the kill. It's going to be pretty easy to get refragged. But he's going to go ahead and take his pick and make it an even 4-4 and help stop this push. However, he does get taken out by the Spectral from Iconic One.
Beautiful frag coming out there, taking a lot of chip damage on me, and now looks like Dopey gets the one, almost a 2K there. No, sorry, that was a TK there. I didn't say that correctly. Now coming down to just 2-2 between these two teams here, but I mean Splunge and Michi having a huge health difference here against 29 and 6 health from Aquino and the Iconic One. I'm hoping Iconic One can pull out some iconic moves here, because at this point it's looking like it might be a loss for Empire again.
He's making all the noise. He's distracting it for the Iconic One to go into sight and plant. That's what he was doing. He was shooting, making a bunch of noise on that stairs, and it worked.
Does anyone else see this weird head glitch thing? Because Iconic One's got like a bobblehead almost.
Yeah,
just
they
me?
gotta fix that.
Just me?
No, that's a thing.
Oh, Aquino gets to pick up on Splunge. Now coming out just Michi. And this is going to be a tough one. I mean, how do you get this 1v2 situation going here? One of them on the windows.
2v1 is going to be very difficult. They do have that wall blown up as well, so they are going to be sitting on that window, and then Aquino is going to be on the flank, looking away. Michi turning around, does take out one. There's one more. You got to go and push and get that kill and get the defuse. There's not going to be enough time. He's starting the defuse. It's a bait. Does take him out. Does he have enough time?
Oh,
or are we gonna see? Are we gonna see the CC like we did yesterday between 8 basils? And then no, it is going to be a round win. Not enough time. Almost a good clutch. Just not enough time on the board.
Talk about a switch up.
A good call,
right?
That was such a good call on the rotate. Fantastic work keeping all of the attention onto A site, while Iconic had the chance to just run over and plant on an absolutely free B. That was extremely well done. And both of them had next to no health either, and they still managed to pull that off. Great plays, great plays. Empire's doing really well today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of shocked it worked out in the end there. If it weren't for that switch up, this might have gone the way of Zero. And I think you're right, Shimi. Looks like it was going to start going the way of Zero. I mean, you might have won your bet or lost, but, you know, it looks like history has been made now. 7-2 already for round 1 here. Let me see if I can pull up some of the replays. There's some really good ones, I think, in this previous round here. So many fun moments. I think one of my favorite ones was that Incendiary knocking out 3 of the players here. We got this 4K in a span of like 5 seconds coming out here from the 0 players to really combat against Empire. And there were just so many great moments here. And here's the moment I was just talking about, the Incendiary, where they jumped the hatch here, and obviously there's a 1-2-3 pick from the Incendiary. Obviously, the best, I think, Incendiary I've seen in a hot minute. And it's just so many good moments, I think, from both teams, but obviously a little bit more good moments coming out from the Empire squad here. Do you think there's anything Zero can do, honestly, in between these two maps to maybe come out and maybe work out for map 2?
I think it's coming down to they just didn't have a hot map. Probably still warming up, not quite fully there yet. Skyscraper's always a weird map too. Some teams just are absolutely awful at it. Some are extremely good at it. Just Empire was playing it right. Zero wasn't. Maybe we'll see something different on this next map. Maybe Zero's got a pick that will actually work out for them for our map too.
Play yesterday? Didn't we play yesterday? Play each other?
Yes. Empire won yesterday against Zero. That was at the very end of the day though. So it's possible that both teams, like, just Empire had more stamina than Zero did.
Yeah, also
both teams
it was
are
a single
starting
map,
off fresh
right?
now.
And it was a single map, so like, you know, it's different. You know, it's different when you go into a best of 3, right? Because you have the full potential 3 matches to really play out, and you have counter map like choices to make. So I always say like CCs is a weird luck of the draw, honestly, because you're hoping that you're the home team. You're hoping that you choose the right map for your team on that specific pick. There's just so many things in play. There's so much I think more variables than a normal match actually has when you do a best of 3 or a best of 5, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very weird time. There is some luck involved to it, but there's also just a lot of stamina. You're playing a long time. I mean, I've played 2 CCs, and it is a draining like 4 to 5 hours because you were just playing match after match after match. You're having to make sure like you've got enough batteries for that. You've got enough people to swap in because some people don't charge their headsets. You're playing your heart out that entire time. And then if you win, you have this entire match tomorrow that you have to follow up on.
I know, right? That's why I would say CCs is just so brutal for that 8th team, whoever ends up being the wild card spot, because you have to fight for a whole weekend, and you're not even done. You still have the next 2 weekends, and on top of that, you're playing against Acer in the first set of matches. So it's just brutal match after brutal match after brutal match. So we'll end up seeing what happens here, but it looks like Empire is going to be swapping out one of their players, so we'll be taking a quick break, hopefully not too long, but we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Only Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2-hit.
Wow. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
I think it's ship. I think it's ship. Yeah, ship.
Cool. Welcome back, welcome back. Sorry to pull us in right into the action, but these teams are going right into ship here, and I did not realize how fast they were going in with their player that they just picked up. But obviously Empire, as we had mentioned, is picking up one of their subs here, and we're going right into the ship action here. Again, Zero and Empire, I mean 7-2 on map 1. What are we expecting to see potentially on this map 2 here?
Hopefully 3 rounds. That'd be nice, Martini. Jewish Potato, you got Jaded, Splunge, Minchi Juice. Doesn't look like the Zero roster has been switched up at all. Empire, however, it does look like they made a change in there. We got Cohen for, I don't remember who was there. But anyways, we got them on offense, and we got Zero on defense. So hopefully Zero can go ahead and get as many rounds as they possibly can. Shoot for 4. 4 is always a healthy spot to be on defense, I would say, personally. Don't know if you guys want to give your opinion on that as well, but I think 4 is a good number to get when you're starting off defense.
Agreed.
Yeah, looks like already getting started here. Empire getting ready for this attack on the starboard area. And we're going to be seeing a very conservative defense coming out from Zero. No one really playing any of that roamer role here, which honestly I think does play a little bit better into this site here. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it looks like our kind of going already getting that breach up, but a lot of trip damage coming out from the wall there already. And a lot of wall bang damage coming out here, but we'll see if that does develop into any picks here eventually as Empire is getting set up for this initial push into A site.
Yeah, not a lot of roams. I guess the only roam they can really do would be roam from downstairs, and I think they have one of their players that was kind of checking out that area, but it looks like he's about to regroup back up with the team. Looks like this is a full sended traditional normal A push. You know, they did take control of both sides though of the wall. It doesn't seem like there is going to be anybody that's going to be really conflicting them much in that hallway. So they're going to be able to go ahead and get the walls open, toss in some util, get all set up with those protectors all the first thing to do as wall there now. Util coming out, walls are opened up, however, it just ran right into the instant, taking a ton of damage, and Jewish being able to go ahead and finish off that kill. Jewish being able to go ahead and get another kill, that's 2 right there. Getting that pick of his own as well, Sponge get another, and Jewish getting a 3rd pick, making that a very quick, flawless for the Zero team. Zero on defense getting another pick. They're going to be hopefully that propels them and gets as many rounds as possible. We might be looking at a third map if they keep up with that performance. Beautifully done, already a flawless.
To enter that site, you need to make sure you either have advantage or you have a clear path. Neither were there. You saw an iconic one walk straight into an Ensign and get immediately domed. And after that, it was just a cascading pick after pick after pick from the defenders. Zero managed to solidify that site, keep everybody out. And at that point, when you're trying to do that bridge take, you cannot afford to be on a mana disadvantage when you're on the offense. You might get lucky and you might get your foothold into sight and clear out. But when a defense is that strong inside of that radar room, it's difficult to deal with. It's extremely difficult to deal with, as we saw.
Yeah, that was definitely a rough attack coming out there from the Empire players, and I think Zero definitely feeling a little bit better considering how their performance was in the previous round here. So 7-2. Hopefully, we can see some different decisions coming out from the Zero players. Maybe. I didn't really get to check the stats real quick, but I'm hoping Ship is a little bit better and more of their speed here, as it looks like again Empire is ready for this initial push in. And again, Zero playing conservative on that defense. I mean, all 5 players anchored on these sites here, and it looks like, hey, I mean, if it works out for them, they're gonna keep running it.
I think it might be beneficial to play a little bit off-site, kind of like in the med bay area, just apply a little bit of pressure, because I feel like this site is a little too small. It's really scary for Util. Util could just be tossed all the way back there, like the Ensign right there, doing a ton of chip damage onto Jewish potato. They're already able to start that plant, right? That Ensign just stopped him all from being able to push up and stop that plant. But as soon as that Ensign was gone, Jewish is just running right through there. Got one pick. Swinging through there, does get taken out though by Dopey. It is a 3-3, but they are so low on DP, and he is starting that defuse. He said, cover me, I am starting the defuse, and that is exactly what he's doing right now. Mitchie does go ahead and gets him taken out, and they all 3 were still up by the time that they were able to get that diffused. It was 3-3, he said, I'm going for it. Cover me. Wow. It was a good execute on the plant. I just don't think they had a very strong post plan. I think they were all too chipped up from damage and stuff, and just wasn't able to hold it that well.
The real killer on that one was the fact that the remaining you had the planter and you had the person backing up the planter, who was Rias. Both of them died, and everybody else was so far away from the plant that they weren't able to deny any sort of push out, which just gave Zero the chance, once they took care of those first initial 2, to run out and take space, giving that opportunity for that defuse to begin. And then you saw the panic happen inside of Empire as they're like, oh shoot, I need to get back there and stop that defuse, otherwise we lose the round. And that panic ended up into multiple 1v3s. Just not the ideal way to handle that plant. It was a very good approach. It was an extremely good approach. Getting that plant down with a 5-5 and completely blocking off everything via that incendiary was a smart move. Just not great follow-up.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Zero is just really locked in for this round, or if it's a map choice, or maybe they just needed that warm-up in that first map, because it's definitely challenging. And this is definitely feeling a lot better I think, cast now coming out from the Zero players. It's really locking in and getting a lot more picks this time around here. I mean, check out. Let's see if we can pull up the scoreboard again. Let's see what's going on the Zero side here. We do have a Jewish Potato at 4-2, definitely showcasing some of the chops coming out from the Zero side. But we are now coming into the upcoming third round here, finally seeing some assault rifles coming out in hand. Jaded. Hopefully they can get some value there on the defensive side.
I just want to point out, I liked how they diffused that really fast. I think they learned their lesson from the last map, running out of time on that. Because yeah, they still had both players like have 3 up, and they just like, we gotta start it now. We gotta go now. We're gonna run out of time. So funny.
Oh yeah, definitely a smart play coming out from them. I think that's the problem sometimes when you go so aggressive on a EMP plant. If you don't have a good defense for that post plant situation, you see something like that where Zero was able to go in, secure the EMP, and go for the defuse almost immediately. Like, you know, as much as planting the EMP does add pressure, if you don't have a good defensive hold at the end, it's just basically you're basically handing them a free win, because they just gotta get that defuse off. It's basically down there at that point.
And it looks like they're going to be playing sight again, just tucked away really far into the back. They're going to be able to get this plant off. And it looks like they're actually having pretty solid offense until Jada started pushing up and getting 2 picks of his own and just pushing back. and does get taken out by Jewish's nade, but however, he does get a pick as well, so it does even out a little bit. And we go ahead and get another one as they go ahead and pinch in on this last person. Another TK by Jewish. Jewish killed 2 of his teammates this round, but still pulled off the win on that one. Wow.
Oh man, they're getting too desperate with these plants. They're trying to get the plant early without securing that man advantage, and it's just punishing them because they'll get that foothold, but they won't have enough control to keep it. They only have like 1 or 2 people in, so like even then Riaz got his kills. He got 2 kills, but that left Iconic completely exposed for the rest of the defenders to come around, sweep him out, and then sweep out Riaz. And you just, again, saw the scramble coming from Empires. They're like, everybody's dead. We don't have the plant down yet. We have to go recover this. And it turned into a just massive mess of util going everywhere. People running around trying to find enemies. And it just isn't working out for Empire today. They need to make sure that they're getting a stronger purchase into sight. They need to make sure that they're actually getting a man advantage and getting those picks off. They need to, they're not acting on a ton of util, they're just acting on being able to get in as soon as possible.
Exactly. Like Zero is like waiting for them to plant. They get the plant done, and then they're just fully like a swarm of piranhas just sweeping out and just picking apart this offensive team. I think they need to play a little bit closer together and actually try to go for those refrags and get those free picks, because they're just not they're not happening. They're coming out and it's just happening so quick after they get the plant. They feel like they're secured and they got it after they get the plant, but no, they're pushing out aggressive and they're just sweeping them. However, they don't have anybody in the back like watching out for that sweep. You know, they need to be there to get that refrag. They're just always looking at the wrong spot or holding a flank or something, but there's like been nobody on flanks. They've all been on site for the last 3 rounds. Beautiful little lean over there by Splunge. Basically picking his gun up and shooting through that little crack and able to go ahead and get a pick. It's a bait and switch. They rotated. Iconics on the other side, and Juice basically go ahead and get 2. Litronics get an instant kill off of that connector spot, and he's gonna go ahead and finish that plant. However, it is a 1v1. It's gonna be very tough. Does go ahead and get the push on the rotate. Does, however, get taken out by Splunge, and they're able to go ahead and get that defuse. That was an interesting round. I mean, it was a lot different from the ones that we've been seeing previously. You want to break that one down for us, Shimmy?
I mean, it did end up just the same way, though. They tried to get the plant down too early. They didn't take the space. They needed to cut off that connector. They didn't do it early enough, which gave all the opportunities for Zero to chuck util and just destroy those 2 people on bathroom wall while Iconic was lacking out trying to plant the EMP. They're getting too jumpy and trying to get that EMP down before they actually have any sort of control. Yes, the site was empty, but it was too close of a rotate. That rotate between A and B site on that middle floor is extremely quick, and unless you have control of that connector, it's not worthwhile to just desperately plant and leave people out in the open. You need to make sure you have that solid control. Prioritize that before you go for the plant. Once you have it, once you know that connector is secure, you've either got an ensign on it or you've got somebody watching that thing like it's their full-time job, then it's a decent time to plant.
I'm wondering, do you think Empire's too aggressive on this attack? Because they keep getting that EMP plant down, but have we seen a successful EMP plant by them yet? Not yet.
No, we've seen a couple. We've seen a couple of plants get down, but they almost always
won, right?
Yeah, exactly. It always ends up that it's getting defused. They're losing the mana. They're losing any sort of. They're losing to kills. That's just what's happening.
Yeah, we are going into this upcoming round here. Empire getting a lot of wall bangs in on this wall, but not quite connecting here. I just wanted to give y'all a. Sorry that earlier that I did not showcase the game. My spectator client did crash out, so I was showcasing just us talking. So unfortunately, I did have a problem there. But hey, we're back in the action here as it looks like Empire already starting off with a pitch here on Splunge here. Because Duke did playing very aggressive, getting a 2K there in the end, and that's gonna be again a beautiful pick by them.
Is that a blind fire?
That was a blind fire.
I believe so.
Blind fire 2K. That is a nice little feat right there. It is a 4v3 situation. However, this Empire squad is getting all set up again. They like keeping this point. They need to get some picks and really set up for that before they start worrying about the plant. Hopefully, that's what they do here. However, they're very split up and very, very far apart. Basically, each one of these kills, it could be just, you know, a trade, a one for one. There's not really anybody there to go ahead and get either person's refrag, which could be dangerous here. Hopefully they win their ones and get the picks that they need if they want to go ahead and have any type of foothold advantage going into this next half. Because like I mentioned, getting 4 points, that's a good feat. But any more than that, you're going to be in the danger zone. You know, you come back from 4-2, especially on defense on shift, but if any more than that, it's very difficult. And she was just playing that door so well, being able to go and get another pick. Electronics, though, fighting back, getting the second one. Does get refragged by Jaded, though. Now it is a 2v1, and they do know where Electronics is. He is going to crouch up now and try to go for a different... No, he's going to be pushed through the smoke.
Yeah, I don't know if they know where he is and not plant it down. It's actually off the site at this point. So Electronics deciding to just go for picks, I'm assuming, but gets picked up by Juice in the end there. And I don't know why they decided to play site there. Maybe they said, I don't care about the EMP. I'm going straight in.
I mean, planting in a 1v1 or even a 1v2 could be kind of dangerous. So he probably just had to go for those picks there. Probably was the best case, you know, situation. Just getting the one in connector maybe, but then when you get the one in connector, then what? You know, the other teammate is going to know you're in connector. You don't have the EMP, you can't plant. If you had the EMP, yeah, that could be nice. You just rotate to the other side, right?
It was definitely a last-ditch effort to try and finish out the round in their favor, get them at least one on the scoreboard. I mean, in that, just like you said, it is too risky to plant when you're in a 1v2 or a 1v1. It's not worth it. It's better to go for the kills. But with that amount of time left, there's no point. You're not going to be able to do it. Unless you get very lucky and both of them are in connector, it's not happening. And Empire right now, I feel like they're almost panicking. They're trying to speed run their way through their rounds, and it's just not working. It feels like everything is rushed. It feels like everything's a bit of a scramble. And I think they're starting to play a little bit worse because nothing is working out for them just yet.
Yeah, now coming into this upcoming round, 0-5-0. We might be seeing a similar performance as Empire did on the previous map, where they might be able to get a 6-0 shutout in this first half here. And this is definitely going to be a great response from Zero players if they can get this 6-0 shutout in the first half. But we'll have to see if Zero can hold down and maybe showcase what they're doing here. But Raya's coming in here on the first entry side. Pick up on me. He does not get the pickup, unfortunately.
Oh, the instant placement. Barely was able to scrape out of there alive and then even survive the wall baits. 1 HP and a dream. That was a very lucky escape right there. Was able to actually get all the way outside and heal back up, keeping that player still in the fight. That was dangerous. That was very lucky. If that was me, I would not be surviving that.
Oh, when Light Product in that pick off on Amici, he does get that smoke coming in and really shut down the zoning there. Shut down the picks, but it's Sponge getting a lot of chip damage. Juice getting a beautiful S tier frag in the end on Light Products. Now evening up the player count in this 4v4 setup here.
Smoke grenades being thrown all the way onto the offensive side of the team, really to make it where they can't see anything or know what's going on. And just letting the defensive team push all the way up through the smoke. Splunge already getting 2 on them. It is a 4v1. We're just seeing a completely different switch and dynamic from the last match. Like, it was a 6-0 for the other team. Now it's a 6-0 for this team. It was a warm-up, I guess. They're locked in.
Yeah, I mean, 4-1, unless we're going to see some John Wick-esque skill case coming out here from the iconic one. I think we're going to be going into a shutout coming out here from Zero. And you're right. They must have warmed up, because 6-0 on their own second map here is kind of crazy work. Maybe it really does come down to just map choice here. But I'm wondering what happened to Empire, because it doesn't look like they're performing the same way they did on Skyscraper.
Oh, they're playing this defense very, very tough. Let's see if they can keep that momentum going into the offensive side as well. Very good try there by Iconic One, being able to get 1 pick, but not enough. You got 4 players to have to go ahead and get that 1 extra round. But yeah, 6-0. That's gonna be a tough feat to come back from.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not Empire's not playing the way that they did on Skyscraper. They were very, very smart, measured on Skyscraper, shutting people out, making sure that people couldn't get to site. Sure, they were on offense this time and defense first for Skyscraper, but even their attacks were more measured. It just, the entire time they were on offense, it felt like a scramble. It felt like a panic. It felt like they were trying to just get that EMP down for EMP's sake. It didn't feel measured. It didn't feel thought out. I don't know why we're seeing this difference from Skyscraper to Ship. Maybe they're not comfortable with Ship. They were very comfortable with Skyscraper. But they're at least on defense now. They have a ton of work ahead of them. But they can at least rely on something that they are good at, which, again, as we saw on Skyscraper, defense seems to be something that's a strong suit of theirs.
Right. I mean, it feels like Empire really is just throwing bodies at the EMP, and obviously that doesn't work out a lot of the times here. And as we see, 6-0 is definitely not working out at all for them on the attack. But hey, they might be a lockout here themselves on a defense, but as we saw in the previous map, they would need to play a perfect game, getting the next 6 rounds to make something happen here. Michi getting some chip damage there. Jewish Potato knocking on Dopey, now leaving only 4 players on the defense now for Empire.
We see a different defense from the Empire team than we do see for the Zero. It looks like they're playing a little bit more spread here. We had one kind of off in that, the kill box area, and we have to see another one in that hallway. So we'll see if that benefits them or if that is going to be the end of their demise, as we see just one person in that hallway versus this whole squad. I mean, if you catch him at the right time, swing, it might be great, but he might get picked off. He does actually, it does work. He gets one and gets a second one. Bunch trying to go for the refrag, does get turned on. Again, just from the last match too. Well, sorry about that, Sponge, but it's a 3-1. It's a 3-1 situation now. In Empire, we might see a curse coming back. Maybe again, we only have one round though that they need to have. They only need one round, but they have to come back 6 of them. However, it is a completely different side switch, and we can see here they're playing completely different than the other team. Way more people off site than we do have on site.
Yes, we're seeing that spread out defense. It didn't quite work for Dopey, but I think everybody expects somebody to be on that green box. That being said, Iconic One had a great lurk through the bathroom hall. Another spot that is usually fairly common, I don't know why Zero wasn't watching that, but it gave Iconic One a chance to get multiple free picks. After that, it just came down to not a man advantage necessarily, just a placement advantage. Empire was able to utilize their strong spots, their blown wall, and slowly whittle down the rest of that Zero team. Like I said, they seem to be better on defense. They seem to have a good understanding of it. I just don't know what happened on their offense.
Yeah, right. It feels like they played so differently. That performance is not even remotely the same as we'd seen with them on the offensive side. And again, Empire could come back 6 themselves here. It's just so unlikely, especially with the mental game of knowing that you're down to 6 whole rounds and from really a shutout in that first half here. They would have to do their own shutout here as Zero decides to go all in aggressive on this side. Gets a pick off already. 2 pick there now in the end. Now leaving just only 3 players alive now off a site though. And it looks like this is going to be a hard challenge as Empire has to go for the retake off a B side. And talk about all out aggression there.
And there's only 3 spots that could really come from. Is that little tiny hatch, the little tiny one on the bottom, and the connector. I mean, this would be a very easy thing to hold off. They know where these players are, and Jewish does get the one in the connector. Now it is a 3-2 situation. We might see a 7-1 going into this next map. They're pushing in. Electronics to take out one, does get refragged by the Iconic One. It is a 1v1 situation. Let's see if he can buy down enough time.
Oh, no.
Oh!
Jewish was hiding behind there, bought down enough time. They did not have, even if he got that pick, they would not have had time to get that defuse.
See, and this is one of those fast plants that actually works. You make sure that you get control of the site. It was very, very quick, but Zero was able to get full control, make sure that there was nobody coming in, made sure that all those connection points were secured. So connector, locked down. Jewish Potato was immediately watching that. Same with Vent. Vent also was secured by that incendiary that Jewish Potato tossed down. Sure, a little bit later, but he was at least watching it the entire time. Empire wasn't quite doing that. They were kind of just throwing the EMP at the wall and just hoping it sticks. while Zero took the effort, not so much the time, they did it extremely fast, but they took the effort to make sure that that site was secure and get that plant down the moment it was secure.
I mean, what did
I
you
want to be
think?
honest. It's gonna come down to this last map, guys. It's that was I don't even know which way it's gonna go. I mean, a 7-2 and then a
7-2,
7-1.
7-1, right? Yeah, it's a toss-up at
That's-
this point. I really don't know which way it's gonna go either, and looks like they might be going in for a quick break there. But let's pull up some of the match clips in that previous map here. I mean, this is the last one that came out here, iconic one. Trying their best. They almost won a 2v1 situation here, but it's still challenging, as Gravy had mentioned earlier. You know, you're coming down to the time there. You can't do much. And to Shimi's point, that's how you play that aggressive plans, because that was the problem we had seen a lot from the Empire team. They tried going for a lot of these aggressive plans. They got the plant down, which is cool. You got 200 extra credit per person, but does it matter if you don't have the site? Does it matter if you don't win out the round by that EMP plant? Does it really matter to throw bodies essentially at an EMP plant there?
Yeah, it's just not gonna work. It's not something that you can not at this level. You can't do that at this level because, again, people are just going to do a retake push. They're going to hit you hard. If you didn't clear and watch for a flank, they're going to come from that way too and just dismantle you, as we saw multiple times. Like, for instance, that middle floor where there was only 2 people that got into the site, got the plant. The moment they died, it was a scramble panic from Empire. Other times, they would get in and then just get completely decimated, leaving like the planter alone. It's just not the smartest way to play. It's something you can get away with in lower tiers, but when a team understands how to do a retake at this higher level, it's not worthwhile.
I mean, what do y'all think? What are your votes for the upcoming round? I want to take everyone's votes. Who do you think is going to win map 3, Empire or Zero, based off the performances we've seen thus far?
It's such a toss-up right now.
We're talking to the people watching, right?
I mean, yeah. Who else are we
Okay,
talking
okay.
to? Who else are we talking to?
I thought you were out.
Gravy, are
thought
you
you were
good
asking
right now?
Jimmy
Are you on the cast?
You here, dude? You here? You all right?
Yeah, you good?
Yeah. I thought you were just asking Shimmy and I was like, I don't know. It's a toss.
Yeah, I am asking you two. Who else am I asking?
That was what he. Yeah, exactly.
Chat. Obviously, Gravy is not in
know.
the action right now.
Just let the chat decide. I don't.
No. Come on, guys. Come on.
know.
Let me get your votes. I honestly think, based on performance and what we had seen, I'm honestly swinging a little more the way of Zero. Honestly.
I can't say it's gonna come down to, is Empire gonna play this smart or are they not? If they play it smart like they did on Skyscraper, I think they've got it. But if they slip up at all, they decide to pull dumb plays like they did for Ship, it's over. Zero is going to swamp the absolute crap out of them. Zero, I don't think is much of a strategic team. I think they're extremely adept at gun skill and aggression, though, which, unless you are very, very smart, like you play this game like Valor does, or if you play this game like Valor or like Old Eternity, then you're gonna have an easier time dealing with them. But if you aren't at that level of it and you're not making sure your steps are measured, you're just gonna get destroyed like they just did on Ship. It's hard for me to say because it's going to completely come down to where Empire's head is at, and it's not going to be in a great place after that. After this map, I don't think it's going to be in an amazing spot.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I take it back. I'm going to say I think Zero might have this unless they can do a lot of course correcting over on Empire.
I will say they are taking the 10-minute break. Maybe that is enough to reset the mindset. I mean, what do you think, Gravy? Do you think that 10 minutes will be enough for Empire to really come back? Or is Zero going to keep that momentum going forward into map 3 here?
I'm probably going to lean a little bit towards Zero, just because I saw someone in the chat saying that, what team was it? Zero had no experience on Skyscraper. I think they
Skyscraper. They have no
the
experience
season.
on Skyscraper. One of the maps that has been here since the beginning.
So that's why they lost. 7-2. They've only played it one time throughout the season, and then but overall they have better gun skill according to the chat. So of course I'm gonna go with the ball that's rolling, and hopefully they have the good benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give it to them, and I think maybe we might see a Zero pull through and win on this one.
Interesting. Looks like everyone's going the way of 0. I'm so sorry, Empire, to the previous CC winners. Apparently, none of us.
Yeah, you already won one. All right.
Apparently none of us have
Somebody else
hope
a turn.
in the Empire squad, and I hope they could prove us wrong. Otherwise, we might be seeing this go the way of 0. But it looks like they are going to be taking their 10-minute break in between matches. So we will be back just in a couple minutes as these teams are getting ready, and hopefully not too long of a wait. But I think it's going to be about like 5-6 minutes, so won't be too long. We'll see y'all in just a bit.
Prepare to start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Spud in the bottom, going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom, going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
Here, I don't know if y'all had seen the map votes yet. I have seen it, but what do y'all think the upcoming map's gonna be?
I didn't see it.
What do you think it's gonna be then? Don't look.
Oh,
I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look.
Don't
I'm not
look.
gonna
What do you think?
I think
where would I look?
In the
On the button.
spectator client, but go off. Have
Oh,
you
I'm
played
gonna
this
show you
game,
some
Gravy? Are you good
Yeah,
right now? Are you
I'm
good
on-
right now?
on
Gravy's
one tier.
like, are you talking to us? Yes. I won't get over that earlier, Chad. When I'm like, who do y'all think's gonna win? He's like, you talking to me? Like, yes.
I'm not watching your screen.
It's
I'm
turning
watching
into.
Gravy.
Who else am I talking to, Gravy?
Hour.
Who else am I
This
talking
turned
to?
into roast gravy
The
hour.
chat. The chat, Martini.
I'm asking you too. Hey, who do y'all think? I would say, hey, chat. You know. Anyways, give me your vote, Gravy.
I don't know.
Do I
man.
need to
don't
say your
even-
name out loud? Is that what it is, Gravy? Who do you think? What do you think the map choice is gonna be?
That's better. I like that. How about? Well, I don't know what they banned. Do you know what they banned?
I heard Arctic, and I didn't see the other one. Mala and Arctic they banned.
I feel like Hideout's a safe option and always a go-to. Sounds like a good third map. Sounds like a safe bet for both sides.
Do I pull the reveal now for Gravy and I? Because I haven't looked yet either.
What do you think first? I already saw it, so I can't vote.
I said factory. Oh,
Oh.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
Saw a
go.
little glimpse of
All
that.
right, Chad. Looks like we're going right into, of course, the bread and butter of Breachers, and of course the bread that has been here since Alpha. I think you all know this one by now. It's going to be going right into the action here with Factory, a map that's been around for such a long time here. And as we've talked about so many different times, all of these teams have played it time and time and time again here. It's hard not to know exactly what everyone's going to be doing. So you're not going to be, I think it always comes down to just skill. Whatever team is just more technically better is probably going to win out this last map here. And as we talked about in the previous section here, 7-1, 7-2 from both of these teams. I don't know. I think it's going to be challenging to figure out who is the technically more challenging team here.
I mean, this is a figured out map. Factory, like you said, has been around since Alpha. It was the very first map for Breachers. Anybody that's been around since the Alpha days knows this map inside and out, knows what every push is, knows how to work this map. It's going to come down to the more practiced hand wins here.
This is basically like Hideout number 2. It's the second most played map.
Hideout number 2. It's not like Hideout is Factory number 2. I'm just kidding. I know what you're talking about though, but it looks like Zero already getting ready for this push in on to this area here before that attack on the B side pretty soon. No chip damage, so shockingly. No one's really sustained anything from the wall bangs or any of the utility coming out already.
Looks like they got a pretty good setup. However, they got 2 people on the flank just about. Oh, Splunge going ahead and getting that quick peek and getting that pick off. There's another one. Jewish does push in the back. They are going to start taking some space. A trip mine kills onto Splunge. You hate to see it. They're starting to plant, but did not fully commit. Dopey turned around and got another pick onto Jaded. I don't think Jaded saw him there behind the bomb site. Oh no, they had plant committed, but not fully planted. Now they know it's there, and they can just play defense all together and just hold that spot. And it's a 3v2. This is going to be a very difficult situation for the Zero squad to come back from.
Oh, as they do get knocked down, all come down to just Michi now in a 1v2 situation. Can they get the pick on Rise? They can. Now come down to just 1-1 now with Lightronics at 23 health. No health syringes, I think, on anybody. This is definitely doable for a Zero win. And you're right. I think they might have been a little too aggressive on that EMP plant here. But Empire not looking too good for themselves either. They're so low on his health. It's going to come down to, honestly, perfect timing. And I think Lightronics might not be able to catch out Michi. Ah, they're so close. It's like, it's crazy the timing here, and oh, it comes down to Michi getting that clutch play, and that's gonna be a beautiful play from them.
Cat and mouse, pretty much. I felt like I was watching Tom and Jerry
Oh, absolutely.
sneaking up on each other.
I was about to give a little bit of discourtesy to Michi, thinking that it was him being so far away that costed the round for Zero, but I was wrong. That lurk worked out perfectly. He actually managed to completely clutch it up. I don't think that anybody was expecting him to be coming from the A wall. Well done, Michi. Like, really, really well done. You saved that round. Like, when they went in to get the plant, though, they missed Dopey. They missed Dopey, who completely saved the site from having the EMP planted. Just, unfortunately for Empire, Michi is lurking in the shadows. Ooh.
Yeah, it might have been a little too long of a roam personally, but I cannot discount a clutch play. A clutch play is a clutch play regardless if your team could have made it work out prior to that, right? But anyways, 0 off to a good start on attack here because, again, it's factory. So getting any win on the attacking side is going to be definitely a good plus for the team here. And I think at this point, if Zero can get 1 or 2 more wins in the pocket, I think they're basically locked in for that defensive round here. So we'll really comes down to Empire capturing as many defensive half rounds here as they possibly can.
Looks like a very traditional push, taking out the hatch, playing it kind of slow. Just basically checking all the lurks for any trips and stuff. We would hate to see another trip kill come out. Quite unfortunate. There's been quite a few of them already this match. Good instant coming out, taking a lot of damage onto Michi. And they also do have a flank as well. I just noticed Juice is all the way in the backside. Let's see how much damage he could actually put onto this Empire team. I don't think they're going to notice that he's back there. Might catch Rias off guard, and that'd be a free Omen. Free pick right there. Nice little Omen take, and he's fully pushing into site 2 with it. Juice got another one. And now the full team is going to go ahead and push into the site together with him and just take full control of A. Get the plant off, have numbers advantage. It's all up to Iconic One by himself.
The Iconic One now in a 1v5 retake at this point. I'm not sure if they can win this one again because what do they have in hand? A Omen. They have to play this perfectly, but it doesn't matter. Jaded shuts that one down here, and that's going to be giving Zero another round in the pocket. And, what we were talking about earlier when I say the more technically sound team tends to play better, with Zero winning 2 rounds now on the offensive side, I'm almost willing to put in a buy that I think Zero might win this one out.
Potentially. I mean, starting off strong in a 2-0 when you're on offense on Factory, that's a really good position to be in. I typically subscribe to if you can get 2 Factory rounds, you're pretty dang good to go for the rest of the match when you're on offense before side swap. I gotta give it though, they were very measured. They put a lot of pressure onto the kitchen site through both the hatch and the wall, but didn't commit until Juice had sprung his lurk trap and used that momentum, used the confusion off of that to completely storm the site. They didn't just throw bodies at the site. They didn't just try and go when it was too early. They waited until the timing was perfect. Really well done execute from Zero. That's what I like to see.
For sure here. Looks like we're coming into the upcoming round. Finally some, let's see. We can see a couple of Vesins coming out. And I think only 2 Vesins between both teams here. So we'll see if they get any good value from their hero buys. As already a lot of chip damage going there on Iconic One. But they do pick up Sludge in the end. And it looks like they got the Refractor in the end by Juice. As it comes down to breaches coming out from both sides now.
Doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of roams either. We do see one there in the locker space, and they're going to be basically doing a full pinch here from lockers and vending, taking out as much space as possible. And again, with their util, another S tier and A coming in from Jewish, taking out Electronics in the back spot. Dopey is still back there. Instant comes out, does a lot of chip damage. Jewish getting another one, really putting in the work this round. And I don't know how the defender kind of got stuck in between both those players there, made it all the way into their backside. Did get eventually taken out and spotted, but yeah, they still had a bunch of numbers up as well. They're only able to take out Splunge in that situation. Almost another flawless, and they're on the offense as well, which having 3 on Factory on offense. I mean, you're looking pretty good.
Hey, dare I say 6-0 from Zero?
Too early to say. Too early to say.
Is that too crazy?
They're on a runaway economy right now, so they're set up to do it. It's possible, and right now they're just executing very, very well. For instance, like they're just isolating out all of these Empire players, forcing them into 1v3s, 1v2s, catching them on multiple angles. Like I don't think I saw a single person aside from the people that died from util that didn't have 2 Zero players shooting at them. Like they're they're doing their executes extremely well, very clean, and they get to reap the rewards by forcing a bunch of RCPs and Orals into Empire's hands. Well, they get to run around with Vezins and Maruis all day with all the util they could want. And some people are almost at max money.
Oh, no. I mean, talk about Zero coming in and showcasing, hey, that first map was honestly just it was chalk. It was chalk no matter what, because we locked in on map 2 with 7-1. And if they lock in, I'm gonna call this parlay. If Zero gets 6-0 here, I dare I say they get one map against Acer next weekend. Dare I say that? Dare I say that? But they got to get the 6-0 here. But anyways, as it looks, as I talked about that, Zero already being shut down for this round. Down 3 players here, more than half the team, as they go for a big push here. And Juice Potato going to pick off on the iconic one. And I think my parlay just got shut down already in this current round.
That was a very, very quick hatch drop. But yeah, I don't know about that 6-0. That happened to be the round that they did not win a round. Talk about timing. That's a caster thing, isn't it?
You know, caster's curse, right? I'm so sorry, Zero. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
We're gonna 6-0
just want to say, interesting buy from Splunge. He's got the money to be able to buy whatever he wants and then some, but he's going for an Oral instead. Maybe he's trying to make sure that they have enough economy in case they lose this next one for the last round. Everybody's sitting pretty good on money at this moment. But with that last round, Empire finally got their act together and made sure that their defense was counter-entry styled, was watching for those standard openings, those standard takes, and they were able to punish Zero for doing a very, very standard push. Well done. We're seeing them come back a little bit. They got to reap the rewards and get a bunch of Vezins and Maruis back in their hands, get those Orals out of here. Is it enough to give them some follow-up, though?
I mean, we'll see. Zero had, I think, a pretty good amount of cash in the pocket here. But, again, Empire themselves coming in a little bit more flush with cash here. Already a lot of utility coming out there from Empire, but not quite any picks here. Shout out to people in the chat, though. I think the funniest thing I had seen, I think it was Angel, said, who let these drunk guys hop on a CC cast together? And much love to people in the cast. I love seeing everyone hop in and enjoy themselves, as we are going to go into the CC finals here, coming into map 3 now, as Zero off to a great start with 3-1.
They're going to go ahead and looks like they're trying to do, it looks like a repeat basically of the pistol round, essentially, but with guns this time.
Yeah.
You have the people playing in the hallway, everyone else pretty much sit inside as they go ahead and try to take some space, which does look like they're kind of doing. And in fact, they actually have one person now on the far backside in the assembly, which is a little bit different here. So maybe he can get some value out of that. Maybe if he's got the foam ready on that back wall there, Martini. Splunge is ready to go ahead and wait for his team to make some noise. That could be pretty good for the offensive team if they execute this correctly. All right, the push is coming in. Splunge able to take out 2 before getting refragged by Aquino. Jaded getting a pick of their own and getting refragged again. Jaded gets another refrag. It's a 2v1. Jaded is 1 HP. Gonna go ahead and start that EMP plant. Personally, would probably plant the EMP on the other side of that blue container and shoot out that wall, because that would be a really strong post-defense plant when you have the space like this. But maybe just want to quickly get it down and didn't necessarily have the time for that. Let's see if they can buy down as much time as they possibly can. Looks like we Mitchie just barely missed Lightronics. Lightronics does find one. And Mitchie does know where he's at. See if he can buy out enough time, and he does. Mitchie does go ahead and swing and get that kill onto Lightronics. And hey, we might see a 5-1. You know, maybe it's something, Martini. You know, maybe it's not a 6-0, but
True story. I mean, 5, like even just 4 on attacking on Factory is such a good spot to be in. Like Zero is rocking this right now. They're getting those pushes in. They're getting good clear sweeps. Splunge doing that little cheeky AWOL blow from the assembly. Like, I'm loving these 4-1 pushes that they're doing. The 4-1 splits are working out great for them. It's getting them so much control and so many angles that Empire's having to worry about. They're able to just clear sweep sites, leaving any lurk that Empire has all alone in a man disadvantage. They're doing extremely well. They're doing solid pushes. They're playing this game as intended, with very, very practiced hands. Very well done.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Empire can do in the attacking half themselves. I mean, they have to basically pull out the same performance Zero has been doing. Otherwise, Zero's going to be, you know, having the advantage in his second half on the defensive half. They have potentially 4-1, 4-2, 5-1 coming to that second half would be insane. And I think at that point, I'm almost going to chalk it up and say I think Zero's got the dub at this point. But hey, I've been surprised before, and I would love to see a great upset coming up from this one, because that definitely would be a crazy meme if Zero somehow lost this big advantage. Jewish Potato going to pick off on the iconic one there, now leaving only 4 players left on the Empire side, as it looks like, again, the split defense with 2 of them in the locker room, 2 of them on the actual A site. If Zero comes in raining on the A side, this might be a pretty open and shut case.
Trips does take out Mitchie. I saw that one coming there, just running in there trying to go ahead and get that plant down. And the defense, holy cow, Dopey with the 3-piece. And it's all up to Juice on a 1v4, does get taken out by Arias. Wow, Dopey with that pick right there, just absolutely stopping the offensive push.
Well done. Like that Ferrari peek out from the from Tetris hallway to go clear out the entire site was pretty entertaining to see. That's what they needed to get that little bit of momentum. Now they're on that 4-2 side swap. So we've seen Empire usually favors defense. They're not exactly the strongest on their offense, at least shown today so far. Are they going to be able to correct it though? Have a solid offense on Factory. I'm really hoping so, because I don't want to see this match end so soon. They are really down. They are in a terrible spot. Being 2 points down on side swap into offense sucks. And especially, like, Zero has shown that they have a very, very aggressive counter entry defense.
Shimi,
it's gonna be a massive uphill battle.
Shimi, what do you think the percentage chance of Empire winning with these stats right now from this point forward? Do you think going for the second half? Do you think it's low? It's high? What are we looking at? Like 20%?
I'm looking 20%. 20%
wow.
for sure.
You heard it here. He says Empire is definitely going to lose this one for sure. As we are coming into the second half here. Looks like already some utility coming out from the Zero team.
Flip it.
Flip it. Fuck. Sorry. Oh! Yeah, so coming into this upcoming second half here for Zero, already playing this defensive side. And I got to see something different from Empire, because as Shimi had mentioned earlier, their offense has been a little bit lacking, right? We saw them do a lot better on defense, and this is how they played on defense, getting only 2 rounds in the pocket here. I'm a little worried by this Empire offense.
Yeah, well, we're seeing a pistol round here, and it's a little bit of a switch. We're seeing, again, with this... Typically, was it Zero that had a lot of roamers? Typically, no. They typically all played site. However, they're playing a little bit offside. No, he's coming back this time. So yeah, this is gonna be a very, very important round here. Hopefully they can go ahead and get the picks that they need, but it looks like they're just gonna be using the util like they've been using every single round and just stopping all of these pushes with the smokes and then the incense. Maybe they can hopefully get a couple picks. See, they're waiting for the smoke to go away, but they just throw up another one, just blocking their view and able to go ahead and get all these little small picks that they need. They're going to play off those smokes as well. Like, Jewish just got a pick, and something tells me that they're just going to swing off of this. That's what they've been doing for the last couple of maps, just playing so aggressive off their util.
Yeah, I mean, this took so long, a full minute and a half before anything really has pushed in on the side. They're still trying to get in the side here, trying to get maybe another pick here, and I'm surprised Jaded, only having 1 health in hand. We're seeing a lot, 23-62 on Michi. So much low health here, Jaded getting picked off on. He'll be for that refragment out there. Now coming out to this Jewish Potato in the corner as they knock it down. Somehow, Empire scraping together that round. Oh, now obviously, trip mine in the very end.
Ooh, that was a bit of a messy round, but they did manage to get their momentum up and push in. I mean, Dopey getting that little bit of space, giving the intel. Sure, he died. He didn't get a kill, but he got the intel needed for Empire to get more of a purchase into sight. That's a better offense than we saw previously of them just sprinting in with like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to get an EMP plant for the sake of an EMP plant. They're playing this a little bit smarter. They're playing a little more measured. They're not throwing away bodies or lives. Like, this is more what I was expecting to see from them on ship, as opposed to what we got. If they can keep this up, they do have a solid chance. I'd raise that to probably like a 30 or 40% if they can keep this.
I love how I feel like it's gonna be every round. You're like, okay, it's 40%, 50%, 60%.
A little bit higher every time.
A little bit higher every time. You know, Empire, maybe they have the cast going on in the background. They just hear us like talking smack, and they're like, you know what? This is lock-in, guys. We're gonna lock in on offense on Factory because that makes the most sense, obviously. Because Zero did it, doesn't mean they can't do it too.
Yeah, I'm hearing lots of different predictions. I see a 7-6 Empire wins. That'd be interesting to see. If it came back
Overtime.
close
We haven't gotten an overtime yet from either of these maps. That'd be fun.
Normally they've been blowouts, but this one's looking pretty close, and that's why Shimmy there is changing his prediction quite a bit. 20, 35 next round, 50%, 50-50. After that, whoever wins the next round, they are the advantage. They have the extra percent.
Right. As we are coming down the staircase here with the Empire squad, looks like Juice, everyone else actually playing off a site except for Splunge, who's going in for that aggressive roaming pick, potentially on the staircase below, but we'll see if that does come to fruition a little bit later now as this Empire squad now getting ready for this push in. Jada getting picked off there, and Empire off to a good start already getting that early round pick.
Curious with that the clone behind the vending machine there, Martini. I don't think I've seen one placed there, or maybe it was an accident.
Yeah, maybe it was meant to throw them off because it's got the hand through the wall. I think it's pretty obvious it's a drone. It's a clone.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that either, but maybe it's just too big brain and I just don't understand it yet. But yeah, here we go. Here they do have not man advantage anymore. It looks like Empire does have a full on man advantage. They're gonna be taking full spacing in here. They did throw out the instant, does take out Jewish Potato. It is a 5v2. They both have low HP. They are gonna start pushing into sight, but they are watching those spaces, those connectors, and just stopping them. Basically let them get the plant down and just fully protect him. Now they just have to play post plant with 5 players, and now it's a team ace. Like, all of them are up. I think each team ace is each player on your team gets 1 kill. So that means everyone did their part during that round, even getting the plant, the EMP down. Shimmy, we're not looking at 35-40% no more. What are we looking at now?
I'd put this even no, actually I think
50? 50-50?
Because Zero was careless on their defense. They tried to swing out multiple times when they were already at a man disadvantage, trying to gain control back, and it just cascaded how much worse it got. And Empire is being solid. They're looking for their opportunities to grab early picks. They're looking for their opportunity, or sorry, they're watching their flanks. They're making sure that they're not leaving anything exposed. Very, very contrary to how they prior played. I'm gonna go 55.
You think 55, even with them on the attack 55. Themselves? Like, they're not defending. 55. Zero's defending here.
Unless Zero gets their defense back together. I mean, they have a good opportunity with top floor. Top floor is a little bit easier to defend, in my opinion. But it's still kind of just too early for me to give a solid, like, oh, they've got this.
You heard it here. He's definitely putting all his bets in on the Empire squad. He says if he loses this, he's going to be giving me and Gravy both skins.
No, I'm going to exit this cast. That's what's going to happen.
All right. Sorry, y'all. I want to get a good laugh out there. You know what I mean? Anyways, Empire getting ready for this 3rd floor push here. Everyone on the Zero side. We saw this side happen before. We saw, I believe, the Zero squad struggle against that Empire push, and it definitely wasn't what we had expected here. And I'm waiting to see, can Empire pull out what they've been pulling out the last couple rounds, honestly, which is honestly kind of a mix-up. I don't know what's going on today, because this is, last time I checked, this is Factory. People should not be winning this much on the attacking side.
I gotta check something real fast. Make sure someone's not messing with me. Yeah, someone in the chat just said they announced the finalist skin in the VRML announcements. Yeah, good bait. I fell for it. Let's get back to the cast now. 5v5 situation is basically whoever takes control of lockers is going to essentially win this round, even if it's offense or defense. And it does look like Empire does have full control of lockers, even if it's just one person. Dopey is in there, basically putting the work in there, basically keeping full control of that. And they do have the EMP in there as well, which is very, very nice for when they get the plant down on that wall. It is, though, a 3. No, not yet. Don't plant it yet. It was a 3v4. You don't want to plant with a man disadvantage. And they just completely waited for you to plant that EMP and just threw so much util on top of you. It is a 3v2 now in the favor of Zero. Oh man, that 55 is about to be switched over after this round to the other team.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to go in for that EMP plan a little too soon. Oh, they got the 2K there from Dopey. And that's going to be a beautiful switch up for this round because I thought it was going to be going the way of 0. But it looks like Empire might have something to say about this as Dopey now and also Lightronics in his 1v2 situation against Juice. Juice goes for the swing, gets knocked out there. And oh my goodness, what just happened?
I don't know why they were all on top of each other in there. I mean, the swing there it killed both of them.
If they were on top of each other, but at different elevations, one standing, one crouched, that would have been fine. But they both, right as Dopey swung, the second one crouched and lined both their heads up, and it was just the easiest. It was the easiest collateral 2K for Dopey that he could ever have dreamed of.
All right, what's the percentage at? What's the percentage at now, Shimi? What are we at? 55? What's it? 60? 65?
I'm sticking 55 because I know that I'm
Still
going to stick
okay.
my foot in my mouth.
I mean, look at the economy. Empire's rocking all full buys.
Empire's on runaway right now.
We're seeing 0, only 2-3 buys. Okay, half buys, not bad. On defense, on first floor. You think this is still 55%?
No, because when they get the one round, they're gonna have to go into overtime.
Zero played it a little bit better on that one. Their defense was a lot more measured. It was just they made one critical mistake, and that was stacking up at the same elevation, giving an easy double headshot collat. As long as they don't do that, I think they're going to have a still pretty solid chance to win. But Empire is very, very thoughtful on their attacks here on Factory. They're being very careful. They're being very measured. They're doing extremely well.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go 75%.
Yeah, I ramped it up. I think for Empire at this point, they're looking locked in. Again, I don't know what's going on. The fact that we have two teams who somehow are doing better on their attacking halves is kind of blowing my mind right now.
They got gun advantage, and then once they win this round, which they should with the gun advantage, it's gonna put them at 6, meaning the whole 0 squad is gonna have to come back up to 6 as well, just to go into overtime and win the overtime as well. So it's gonna be kind of tough.
Yeah, definitely tough right now with Empire getting set up for this push in the warehouse. And Swords, I forget the name sometimes, but she was getting so much chip damage there from that wall bang at this point. Again, a lot of time has been wasted already by the Empire squad. 1 minute fully into this round at this point. They gotta start making some actions here, otherwise this might be working a little bit better in the Zero's favor pretty soon.
All right, it doesn't seem like too much is going on here. They are going to go ahead and start taking some space, though, in that area. Instant coming out perfectly onto Jewish Potato. He was low HP again, so it was able to go ahead and get a nice little early pick. Again, this is looking very, very strong now for the Empire, as they have man advantage, gun advantage, and have the wall blown up. They are getting all set up, though. They do have they're peeking stuff they should not be peeking. I mean, they have the util placed there. They can't push in necessarily until those are destroyed. But it looks like they're just pushing up on those walls and getting taken out through the smoke. There's another one that was out. The flank got one pick, did get taken out by Iconic One, and it's all up to Juice there in the corner. I'd be so scared, terrified. I don't know. What would you do in this situation?
It's 4v1. Why is no one pushing the site together? It's one dude. It's one guy, guys. Just play the site. Look at this. I'm watching 4 guys. Oh, never mind. Juice gets read perfectly there as Empire shuts that one down. Let me pull that as a replay. That was a beautiful moment. I think just 4 guys frozen in Swords because they just are scared to push site, I guess. I don't even know. I guess they want to play economy and get as many guns as they possibly can into the upcoming round there, right?
Potentially. I think they just had the man advantage and were too scared to lose it. They've had things go catastrophically wrong already in this match.
That's true.
So maybe they're just being very measured, just making sure they know where somebody is before they do a blind push. Granted, like Gravy said, it's 4v1 and you probably got the gun advantage. You know that they're low eco. Why not just blitz in? The likelihood somebody's going to be able to get that 4K cleanly is next to none. And I don't understand what Zero's doing with throwing bodies in a not very well done counter entry. Because you just kept seeing people swinging the same wall over and over again, putting themselves in the same corners they just saw somebody die from. They're trying to be too aggressive on a defense without any coordination on it, which is not what we saw on ship. They were extremely well done on ship, and they're just not they're not playing it as well as they were previously. We're
Yeah,
seeing
I mean,
a lot of change-ups.
Right. I mean, Zero was locked in, right, on the previous map here. And you're right. It doesn't feel like they're really zeroing in on this current map here. 6-4 right now coming out from the Empire squad. Again, leading on the attacking side here, which, again, we had thought Zero had this one in the bag because they had gone 4 rounds on their offensive half. Think about this. Zero has not won one defensive round yet. And that's kind of an amazing and I think crazy thing to see, considering this is Factory. This isn't some other map. This isn't Hideout. This is Factory. This is the map that you win on defense. This is the map that you consistently are expected to win on defense. And we're not seeing that here.
And Shimmy, are we still looking at 55?
Oh, it's a solid 70 now.
70 now.
70?
All right.
They just
Still-
need one.
He's leaving some room for error. All right, I gotta respect
I am
that.
leaving some room for error. That man-made advantage has already begun.
They already got to pick onto Lightronics on that window spot. Where did he get that kill from? Was that a wallbang?
No, I think it was a
Or
lean
he rung
outside
out?
the window. It was a lean
Window?
outside the
Okay.
window, which kind of worked out perfectly in their favor. Now back to even, though, is 4-4 from both sides here for Empire. Again, Empire has 6 rounds in the pocket now. Worst case for them, they're going to go to overtime if Zero can make this one work out. I saw some chat, people in the chat saying 7-5 is the expected total amount of points for both of these. We'll see if Empire, though, can lock in and get this last one here. 1 minute left in the round now. 4-4. I don't know. I don't know who I expect because it's going back and forth. It's still anyone's game.
It looks like they're really taking their time here. I mean, we saw them take their time as well in a 1v4 situation, so I think they're just playing their cards safe. I mean, and I would probably be playing it safe too. I mean, you've got one more round. There's really no room for error in selling anything, and Juice being able to go ahead and get one pick off. He is flashed, but he's in a nice safe area now. The wall does get blown up. Doesn't catch him. He throws the instant down to stop the push. He pushes in, does get a kill, but does get killed by his own teammates. Jaden going ahead and get a stop of their own. Now it's a 3v1 situation. Empire, last player, drops the hatch. Does take out Jaded. Oh, can we see a 1v3 clutch? Oh, does get taken out with Juice Potato and the connector. Okay, we hold on. I see why you said 70% now, because if we go into overtime here, I think there was one prediction in the chat, I think from Faded. He did say 7-6 Empire. We might be looking at that.
I will give it to Zero. They've got their act together. They played a lot. They played that defense a lot more safe. They weren't throwing bodies away. They weren't just swinging things randomly. They put themselves in solid positions, rotated out once they got a kill to keep to keep Empire on their toes, keep the intel down to a minimum. And it worked out extremely well. I think they also figured out that Empire is going to play this very cautiously. We saw them not push into the site until they were starting to run out of time and had no other choice but to. Otherwise, they would risk having a time run out. It forced Empire to take action they weren't exactly ready for. They were able to punish them for it, force that 3v1. If Zero can keep this up, they're gonna look good. I'm still gonna keep a 70% because all Empire needs is one round.
One more. I mean, worst case,
have a lot of money.
And they got overtime. Right? They lose this one. We're still going to overtime right now for Empire. And let me double check. Looks like Empire does have the side decision, so they get to choose where on top of this. Yeah, I think even with Zero getting this plant off, Empire will be able to have the advantage. And we always say slight advantage going into that overtime, but that is if Zero can win this one out here. Is Empire now coming ready for this third side push? We've already seen this a couple different times. And again, it worked out for Empire. Again, Zero only has won one defensive round here. They got to do one more to push this into an overtime. Otherwise, Empire somehow locked in like crazy on this attacking half here. And I will say, too, they are technically the incumbent because Empire won the CCs last season, too. So technically, they're the expected winner, regardless of the performances of yesterday and the season.
Yeah, if they lock in and get this win as well, they would be considered the 2-time CC champions, which would be, I don't know, kind of a nice ring to it. But, you know, just to have to play that number 1 seed is a very difficult thing to do. I would be very curious to watch that and see how many rounds they can go ahead and get on them, regardless if it's Empire or Zero. I think both of them can put up somewhat of a good, decent fight. But I don't know about how close it would be like this, though. I mean, these two teams are always neck and neck. First, one team had a complete advantage on one map, the next one had a complete advantage, and then this one might even going into an overtime. I mean, finally, we see our first pick now from Jaded onto the iconic one there in Lockers, and he does see the EMP. He's pinging that to his team. He's stopping the push down with some incense and some smoke. Sponge gonna ahead and get a swing out and get a kill. Dopey does go ahead and find Jaded. Gets refragged though from Mitchie, and Electronics is pushing into sight. Does get one, but does get refragged by Jewish. And now we see an overtime 6-6. It all comes down to this. And yeah, Faded. I think Faded was right with this. He literally called this. He's the first person to say, "I see a 7-6 Empire."
I mean, what do we expect at this point? Shimi, the Empire gets to choose what side they played. Sorry, what side they play. They obviously been winning on the attacking side. Looks like they chose the attacking side here, but they just played this exact site and they just lost.
I Zero figured it out though. They figured out what they need to do in order to ensure these wins, and that is make Empire sweat. Don't give them easy picks. Let them sweat it out, panic a little bit, and push in slightly carelessly, and then just start decimating them from there. That's what we saw on that last round. I mean, and again, like you just said, they got the same site. They got the same site, same side. They can play this just like they did the previous one. Unless Empire decides to change it up, they're going to run into the same problems. Empire needs to be able to take that ground. They're being a little bit scared, not being able to figure out exactly where these Zero players are.
I may have just messed with the chat. I said GG chat, so they might think that was it. It's not going to overtime.
Oh my God, Gravy!
You know, there's a bit of a delay.
I just saw that. I just saw that.
Said what the leak? Gravy leak. I don't even know yet. It's 6-6.
Spoiler: Gravy quit. Yeah, people are not happy about that, but hey, funny thing to see happen. It did not go that way. Obviously, we're going into an overtime match, which is, again, the first overtime match we've seen in this matchup here, because these teams have been going and winning decisively each map, but looks like this map is going to be a different one here, as Empire has the unfortunate case of having to replay the same exact site that they just lost on.
This is the same site, however, they both have equal gun advantage, also with util, and to see if they could play this a little bit differently. Maybe the util usage is a little bit different, maybe they get the picks that they need. Jada just pushing up and getting that pick, though, on an iconic one and swinging around the corner and getting another one. Electronics does find the refrag, but that is going to give them the main advantage now.
That's going to be great right now for the Zero squad here, already up a full player. 1 minute left in a round here. Dopey, though, on the back end with the EMP. No one, I don't think they have that much utility left. A Sponge, if they play this carefully, they might be able to knock out one more in that EMP planter here. And I think Empire it's gonna be so sad if Empire can't win this one. Now they got so close to victory, and yet it's very slowly going away from them as that Incendiary goes too wide and it just misses the EMP plant. But Juice able to finish up Dopey in the end, and they catch Rias on the run. Now coming down with just Electronics. Can they get to the hatch?
He's gonna have to kill 4 people on that EMP. It's a good spot, but that's dangerous. One person can defuse and everyone else can just shoot up and defend that.
They gotta pick it. Nishi's alive. Oh, they got the pick there. That's one. They need 3 more here. They got no syringes, though, and this is gonna be it as that goes down to Empire in the end. Oh, sorry, Zero in the end. Oh, my heart. It went back and forth. You know, I didn't know who was gonna win.
That was so close. It was hard to tell, but Zero managed to figure it out. They managed to figure out that if they just waited for actually good opportunities to punish Empire, especially Jaded, taking the opportunity to run through, clear out hatch room, and then clear out as much as he can of vending. A little bit of a throwaway of your life. However, it worked out. He got 2K, put that man disadvantage on the board, and then set up his team for success. And then ending in that 4-1, Electronics had no chance to be able to deal with 4 people pre-firing the hatch. He was going to die if he committed to a hard peek. And it still just gave enough time for Zero to win that. Excellent match. Excellent job, Zero and Empire. Both of y'all slugged it out, went crazy today.
I think the only way it could have won out in the end there is if Empire, you know, if they had learned to blind fire that specific spot. If they knew exactly that blind fire, they could have been able to get the pick off and minimize any damage to themselves, even with the blind fires. But it's just, I mean, that was so tight. I mean, 4 players. It's hard to kill 4 players, even with Hatch being such a strong post plant situation there in the end. But I mean, I loved it. I was going back and forth with you, Shimi. I was like, oh man, I think Empire might actually get this on the attacking half. And they put out such a good performance, right? The incumbent for the previous CC finals put out such good performance in the very end there, even with the weird balances on map 1 and map 2. Empire came back in spades in the end and almost, I think, did something, regardless of the performance, and they ended up losing. They did something I hadn't seen in a long time, where they got so many round wins on the attacking half. They came back from a 4-2 loss on that first half there, and to me that's shocking. And Zero the same thing too, right? They had so many offensive wins. It kind of blew my mind that both of these teams performed so well on the attacking half, not the defensive half, but the attacking half.
Yeah, this was an attacker's heaven. Like, the amount of offense rounds won is insane. It's not something you normally see on Factory. This was such a treat to watch. This was a very wild Factory map, and just an overall wild map in general. We saw highs, we saw lows, we saw teams absolutely biff it, and we saw teams do insanely beautiful plays. This match was all over the place, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of crazy to see. Any last words from you, Gravy? Otherwise, we're gonna be signing out pretty soon here.
No, I think that was I don't think we've had a better CC match than that for finals. I mean, that was a close nail-biting game down to the last map. 6-6 going into overtime, and then even then with the hatch play, I know it was a 1v4, but you also are on the hatch, so I mean, it still is like, that's basically like the equivalent of like a 1v1, crouch up scenario, really close. That could have gone both ways. I'm just curious to see the roster updates and see if these teams are going to stick around going into the next season.
Right. I love seeing postseason movement, because there's so much, right? We're not quite there yet with the playoffs, but obviously as teams lose in the single elimination bracket stuff, we start seeing a lot of movement, right, in a lot of these playoff matches. So it'll definitely be a very big movement heavy in terms of that roster updates channel in the next couple of weeks here. But we'll see what ends up happening in the end there. But I did want to give one last shout out to the creators on the VRML team, and of course the mods. If you ever want to get involved in what we do behind the scenes, which is creating content, casting games, or helping with moderation, we're always accepting applications for more volunteers. So please head over to the VRML Discord servers and submit an application if you're interested to any league. By the way, we have so many different leagues, and we always need help with casting. I mean, this weekend there was about, I think, 3, 4, 5 different tournaments coinciding at the same exact moment. So we definitely need as much casting as we possibly can. So we love seeing what we're doing here and would love to join us. Please hop over, and we would love to train you up there in the end. And I gotta just call it out one time. I saw so many people in the chat asking about the finalist skin league. Unfortunately, y'all, we haven't finished it, and we don't have anything for you to show today. So I'm sorry, we don't have any cool graphics or any cool videos. We haven't done anything yet. So, you can rip me the shreds for that. I'm so sorry for that. But hey, hopefully we can find something next week, or maybe in 2 weekends here. Hopefully it's coming out pretty soon here, as they are VRML's going to be working with the Triangle Factory team to get something out within the next month or two. But anyways, thanks for coming out and watching another VRML Breachers cast. We appreciate seeing you all here today. And of course, remember to subscribe and leave a like. It is greatly appreciated. Hopefully we see y'all in the next cast, which is obviously going to be next weekend. Have a good day.
Breachers VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager, Triangle Factory. Thanks for watching VRML.